Late at night, when everyone else had fallen into a deep sleep, a young man named Daniel sat alone in his room, eyes wide open, his heart overwhelmed with anxiety. His mind kept racing with worries about work, his family, and the regrets of past decisions. For months now, he hadn't been able to sleep peacefully. The nights had become a battleground where fear and anxiety relentlessly attacked him. No one knew the depth of the pain Daniel was carrying inside. To the world, he appeared strong, always managing a smile and pretending to be fine. But inside, he felt like he was falling apart. The sleepless nights, the endless worrying, it had all taken its toll. The pain of not being able to find peace was becoming unbearable. And in the stillness of the night, he felt the weight of it all crushing him, as if there was no escape. But tonight was different. A strange sense of hope washed over him, a feeling he hadn't experienced in months. He remembered something his mother used to tell him in times of great distress. When nothing else could ease the pain, prayer was the only answer. "God will take your burden, my son," she would say. Those words echoed in his mind, louder than ever before. Could prayer really make a difference? Could it bring him peace when nothing else had? With trembling hands, Daniel slowly knelt beside his bed, his mind still racing, but his heart yearning for something more. He closed his eyes, trying to calm his thoughts. And then, the prayer began simple, not elaborate, just a whisper from his heart. "Lord, please take this burden from me. I can't carry it anymore. Please give me peace, so I can rest." He didn't know if anything would happen, but in that moment, a wave of peace swept over him. It wasn't a magic fix, and his problems didn't vanish. But for the first time in what felt like forever, he felt a sense of relief. The storm inside his mind had quieted, even if just for a brief moment. The burden still remained, but somehow it didn't feel as heavy. In that moment, Daniel realized that prayer wasn't just a ritual, it was a way to connect with something bigger than himself. And for the first time in a long while, he felt that connection. He wasn't alone in his struggle anymore. In the days that followed, Daniel made a decision. Every night, before he went to bed, he would pray. At first, it felt strange, almost uncomfortable, as he wasn't used to prayer being a part of his nightly routine. But as the days passed, something changed. The prayers became familiar, like a soothing balm for his soul. Each night, when he knelt beside his bed and prayed, he didn't expect instant miracles. He wasn't asking for his problems to disappear. Instead, he was seeking peace, just a little peace to help him make it through the night. And with each prayer, peace slowly began to fill the empty spaces in his heart. It wasn't immediate, and there were still nights when anxiety crept in, threatening to undo all the progress he had made. But every time he prayed, he felt a little less alone in his struggles. He realized that prayer wasn't about asking for things to get better right away. It was about inviting God into his life, inviting him into the chaos. And through that invitation, Daniel began to experience something profound, the presence of peace. One night, after praying as he always did, Daniel reflected on something his pastor had said. God doesn't promise to remove the storms, but he promises to be with us through them. Those words hit him in a new way. In that moment, Daniel understood. Prayer wasn't about asking God to take away his anxiety. It was about asking him to bring peace to his heart while he walked through the storm. God, I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't know how I'll face everything, but I trust that you are with me, he prayed. The words were simple, but they carried so much weight. And in that moment, he felt a peace that was stronger than any fear or anxiety he had ever known. His problems weren't gone, but the anxiety no longer controlled him. Through prayer, Daniel had found a lifeline, a way to surrender his worries to God, and in return, he received his peace. As the weeks passed, Daniel found himself changing. The weight of anxiety no longer controlled his life. Each night, his prayers brought him closer to God, and with that closeness, peace began to take root in his heart. He still faced challenges, but he no longer felt helpless in the face of them. The storm inside him had not disappeared, but it no longer threatened to drown him. One evening, as Daniel knelt by his bed again, he remembered something his mother had once said. God doesn't just heal your physical wounds, He heals the ones you can't see. Those words took on a new meaning now. Daniel had learned that the pain in his heart wasn't always visible to others, but through prayer, he was allowing God to heal those unseen wounds. And though the healing process was slow, Daniel could see the progress. He felt a calm that he had never known before. The anxiety still lingered, but it no longer had the power to consume him. That night, as he finished his prayer, Daniel realized something profound. His prayers had brought him not just peace, but healing. He had learned that surrendering his pain to God wasn't a sign of weakness. It was an act of faith. And in that faith, he had found peace that surpassed understanding. Prayer had become the tool that allowed him to find that peace, and it was a peace that he could carry with him throughout the day. No matter what challenges he faced, he smiled to himself as he lay down to sleep, knowing that God's peace would follow him into the night. And for the first time in a long time, he felt truly at peace, knowing that God was with him, walking beside him through every trial and every storm. With each prayer, Daniel had found not only rest for his body, but rest for his soul. As the months passed, Daniel's nightly routine of prayer became more than just a way to cope with anxiety. It became a vital part of his life. Prayer was no longer just about seeking peace in the middle of a storm. It was about living in peace, day by day. Every night, as he knelt beside his bed, he felt a deep connection to God, and with that connection came a peace that he could never have imagined. He realized that prayer was not just about asking God for something. It was about drawing near to Him, trusting that He would bring peace into his life no matter what happened. The storms of life would always come, but Daniel now had something that couldn't be shaken: God's peace. The healing process had taken time, but Daniel now understood that it was a lifelong journey. Every night, he trusted God with his pain and worries, and every night, he was met with his peace. Through prayer, Daniel had learned that peace doesn't come from the absence of problems, but from the presence of God. And no matter what came his way, he knew that God would always be there, ready to offer him peace, rest, and healing. As Daniel closed his eyes that night, he felt a deep sense of gratitude. He had found peace in the midst of pain, and he knew that no matter what tomorrow held, he would be able to face it with God by his side. And in that peace, he was finally free.